Greetings everyone. Today is Wednesday, June 4th, 2014, and this is my latest timeline. This timeline is different from all the others in that it is only made up of the signs in the heavens, the day counts out of the Bible, and a few key verses. Two of these verses are what I base my work on. One is Genesis 1:14. Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs. God said that. The other verse is Luke 21:25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars. Jesus said that about the end times. What you see on this page is a bunch of those signs. These are all screenshots out of the astronomy program Stellarium. Stellarium is a free astronomy program, and there are different versions. In Stellarium, you can find all of these signs on these dates except for one. This one is 1 year off. You'll find it in 1 BC. The reason I have 2 BC here is because in Stellarium they have a year 0 and there is no year 0. If you're having problems viewing this page, try setting your YouTube settings up to high definition, or if you go to my YouTube page and press this little red icon, it will take you to my Pinterest site where you can bring up all the timelines we're going to be talking about in this video. If you click on any of these screenshots, you can bring them up bigger than full screen. This should help those of you with smaller screens to be able to see everything. I have made 2 versions of this timeline for you. This one that does not have any color, and this rainbow version where I have added colors to the borders to help group things together. I have added a gold border to the 5 crosses that I have found. I have added a white border to the 4 thrones that I have found. The Jews are in blue, the witnesses are in green, the Antichrist and Satan are in red. We also have some that have a gray border or an additional gray border that we're going to talk about right now. As you go back through my videos, you're going to see May 14th displayed at the top left side of my timeline. This was one of the very first signs that I had found, and there was a lot of things associated with this day. It was second Passover, it's Israel's 66th birthday, as well as many other things. A few months after I found this sign, and it just happened to be 2,520 days after the May 14th sign. 2,520 days is the equivalent of 7 360-day biblical years. In addition, this sign is 1,290 days, which comes from Daniel 12:11. It's one of our day counts, and it just happened to be that many days after the September 23rd, 2017 great sign in the heavens. So this is a 7-year period between these 2 signs, and it would fit very well with a possible tribulation period. However, at no time did I ever say May 14th was the start of the tribulation. As a matter of fact, I said the exact opposite. In one of my videos, I actually stressed that we don't know that this would be the start of the tribulation. It wasn't until just before May 14th that I found additional signs connected with these signs. On May 26th, just 12 days after May 14th, I found 3 more signs in the heavens, all happening at the same time. And then 2,520 days after that, that's another 7-year, 360-day biblical year, I find another sign that just happens 12 days after the January 13th sign, and they're almost exactly the same. And if January 25th is the date we should be counting to, then the 1,290 days that counts from the September 23rd sign to the January 13th sign has to change also. It has to start counting 12 days after the September 23rd great sign in the heavens. 12 days after the September 23rd sign On October 5th, we get two little signs in the heavens that are 1,290 days before the January 25th sign. Here we are in Stellarium on October 5th, and Saturn is crossing Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus is the serpent bearer, and I think this could possibly be when Satan gets kicked out of heaven and he gets bound to the earth. At the same time, on October 5th, Mars and Venus have a very close conjunction. Now, Venus usually represents Jesus in the heavens, but not always. But I think at this point in time, it's representing the Christians, because once that abomination of desolation is set up, they're at war. They either have to worship that image or they're going to be killed. Now, I don't believe that we have all the information on what this sign means, but part of it, I believe, is to get the abomination of desolation moved from September 23rd to October 5th and be in the right spot. At this point in time, we know of 12 day counts out of the Bible that have not been fulfilled yet. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These two are the same. That's 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, which is a Revelation 27 that happens after the tribulation period. We see these counts from two different perspectives. One perspective is through a count that is not shortened, and the other is through the shortened days from Matthew 24:22. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. These shortened day counts will only work when we know what causes them. I talk about that in my shortened days video. One of the hardest things to grasp about what I'm teaching here are these shortened days. People have a real problem understanding how they work. If these shortened days are not true, then we should be able to find a sign up in the heavens 1,000 years after this sign. But we don't see that. And I went to this year and this year only looking for a sign, and I found the biggest sign on this page. That's a cross stabbing the serpent in the heart. That fits very well with Satan finally being defeated and cast into hell. So if these shortened days are not true, all of these signs out of my white throne video are in the wrong place. Now, I also want to remind you of all the sevens involved. We have just passed into the 7th millennium, and in the first 7 years, we find all of the signs talked about in the Bible. And I want to remind you of all the sevens in the book of Revelation. There are the 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 bowls, 7 plagues, 7 churches, 7 spirits, 7 golden candlesticks, 7 stars, which are 7 angels, 7 heads with 7 crowns, 7 hills, 7 thunders, 7 lamps, 7 torches, 7 kings, 7,000 people, 7 horns, and 7 eyes. And if we do the math, from February 2021 to August 2728 is 707 years and 7 months. And if we move over onto the civil calendar, on the Hebrew calendar, it is also 707 years and 7 months. Now, does it make sense that these shortened days are shortened by 7 hours? Now, I hope that makes sense, that 1,000 years in the shortened days is equal to 707 years and 7 months on unshortened days. All of these counts are exact to the day, whether you're counting in years, months, or days. I would like to now talk about a few of these day counts specifically. The first being 1 week, Daniel 9:27. As you go back through my videos, you will not see this on the timeline. That is because I didn't really realize that it should be here. This count should be done in years, not in days. It should not be counted as 2,520 days. It should be counted as 7 years. 7 years counts differently than days. And at this point in time, the only place I can see to put this is at Pentecost here. Recently, from the May 14th and May 26th change, 2 of the day counts have moved. One is Daniel 12:11 and Revelation 13:5. I do think they still pair up in who they are talking about, although they are not counting from the same point or to the same point. I have also removed one of the day counts that I have had on this page since the very start. That would be the 1,230 days. That was a count that I put on this timeline, and after finding the abomination of desolation, it is no longer needed, so I have removed it. Now that's only part of the reason I took that off. The other part is because I was working on my timeline one night, and I looked at this abomination of desolation, this little picture that I just made, and I immediately looked over at the 1,230 days, and I'm usually pretty thick-headed when it comes to listening to the Spirit tell me something, but this was no mistake. It was take this off. So the 1,230 days does not belong here anymore. But that makes perfect sense. Daniel 7:25 is the only day count that's adjustable. We don't know what the dividing of time is, so this will adjust all the way along until it locks into place when the confirming of the covenant happens. Now I want to take a minute and talk about the thrones that I have found. The first throne that I found was this one, because a throne is mentioned in Revelation 12:5. And what I think a throne is the Son sitting within four of something. The second throne I found was Revelation 20:11. That would be this throne. The third throne I found was from Revelation 4:1 and 2, where we get a picture of the rapture and a throne is mentioned there. That would be this throne. The fourth throne, which was really the first one, this has been on my page for some time now, but I did not realize that it was a throne until just recently. Now, I don't know of a verse in the Bible that mentions a throne about this, but it's where it's located that is so interesting. I counted Daniel 8:14's 2,300 days back from this total eclipse from Matthew 24:29. Immediately after those days the sun will be darkened, and it landed on August 28th, 2014. Now on the Hebrew calendar, this is the day of dedication of animals. If the Jews start their sacrifices on this day, that would make sense that we have an open throne that is facing the earth. They will now have access to God's throne again. This throne is very interesting in that it's pointed toward the earth. It almost looks like the sun has its arms wide open. But this throne and this throne don't seem to be pointed right at the earth, and this throne is closed. You do not want to be on the outside of this throne. So that's a quick overview of my new timeline. If you go to my YouTube page, I have put these videos in order that I think you should watch them. Just start at the top and work your way down. Now before I go, I just want to mention a few things. The counts that we get out of the Bible, whether they are days, months, or years, are counting between the signs, and not one of them is off by one day. And you can only get it to do that through the Hebrew calendar. I would also ask that you pay attention to where every piece in each of these signs is located. Jesus refers to himself as the bright morning star in Revelation 22:16. That's Venus. Okay, Venus is known as the bright morning star, and Venus is at the foot of this cross. He was a baby here. Venus is on this cross next to the king planet, and it defeats Satan at the foot of the cross. Venus is also on this cross as it stabs the serpent in the heart. So when you look at these signs, you have to know that each piece is in its place in a specific purpose. So I hope you understand that what I am showing you is way beyond my ability to make up. I'm just showing you what I have found. And it is amazing.